Vegeta vs Tamagami 2 here in Dragon Ball Daima episode 11, and it did not disappoint. We finally got to see Vegeta start to go ham in this series, and I believe this fight was on par with Goku vs Tamagami 3, or maybe not yet, but the fight did not finish in this episode, which means we're gonna get more in the next. And we also got to meet the brand new Majin Doo, who is stronger than Majin Ku and goes up against Tamagami number 1. And finally, we have a brand new addition to the Daima crew. Neva, the powerful old Namekian, has joined Goku and company. Turns out he's not a bad guy, and he may actually eventually become, at the end of the series, the Supreme Demon King. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, let's jump into what everybody wants to see: Vegeta vs Tamagami 2, one of the most hype fights in the series so far, and it definitely did not disappoint as Vegeta is just getting warmed up. The Tamagami is really surprised that a child is challenging him, and he says, "Stop joking, go suck on your mama's teat." I did not expect that from him, okay? I thought they were supposed to be like robots, but this man is talking straight trash to Vegeta, dude. No wonder Vegeta wants to beat him up. Most of this battle takes place in the air, and we get the same kind of really nice and clean animation combat that we did from the Goku vs Tamagami fight. And it's just very circular, lots and lots of rotation, great foreshortening and various angles, and yeah, it was pleasant to watch. It was really exciting, actually. Like, I actually really enjoyed this fight with Vegeta. It was dynamic, and I'm pumped that it's going to last 2 episodes instead of just 1. And oh, by the way, there's blood in Dragon Ball Daima, if you were wondering. Now, interestingly, Vegeta tries to like use all these ki blasts on the Tamagami, and it doesn't really do too much. And then Vegeta finally gets hit by one of the Tamagamis, this kind of like cross-slash energy blast, which knocks him down into the water. And we get this whole scene with this Kraken we've seen a lot in the previous episode, eating Goku's ship and everything. It's super strong for some reason. Vegeta, holding his breath, trying to get away from this thing, is able to fly out, but the Tamagami is waiting for him, and he gets smacked right into the Kraken's mouth, and you're supposed to assume that he's dead. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody important is ever gonna die in Daima. I'm pretty sure that that's a given, and you can see in the next episode preview, he's laying on the bottom of the water, but he's definitely gonna come back, go Super Saiyan, and beat this guy. And I'm assuming he's going to have to in order to finally defeat the Tamagami, but he was holding his own in base form really well, and he hasn't even had time to acclimate to the demon gas and weight system, like the gravity system of the demon world. It took Goku like a good 6 episodes or so. He trains a lot in the gravity chamber, so, you know, maybe it's just normal for him. We're gonna jump into the Majin Doo fight now, right after this. Yet again, we get to see the creation of a new Majin. So this time, Aransu is telling us that the reason Majin Ku was too weak, he wasn't strong enough to beat the Tamagami, is because they didn't use enough essence of Buu, which is what we saw her collecting during the Majin fight from Dragon Ball Z. And so now they're gonna put all of the remaining Buu fragments into this magic soup. She also has to spit in it, and then for the Cybermen seed, they need to bury it deeper in order to make the Majin stronger, but the deeper you put it, the more crazy the Majin will become. So Marba wants to put it down 10 centimeters, and Aransu's like, give me 20. Like, damn. I'm wondering if that was like a play on you know what. And so we don't know how far the original Majin Buu's seed was put down into, but this one is going to be stronger and crazier than Majin Ku, who is kind of goofy and weak. They're willing to take the risk though, because they, you know, if they don't do it, they're going to fail their plans of Aransu becoming the new Supreme Demon King. So with the help of Majin Ku, who's excited about getting a new brother, they are able to create this guy who is much more reminiscent, less of a Cyberman and more of Fat Buu. And I do like his design. He looks goofy, but also somewhat strong. Again, reminiscent of that Buu stereotype character. He almost looks like a half fat Buu, half tiny evil Buu, and he's also obsessed with chocolate. Now, if you remember from Dragon Ball Z, though, the reason Fat Buu was fat was because he absorbed the Grand Kai, who was fat, and so I'm not sure why this one is fat, but in any case, he's still very much so a Majin Buu type character, almost identical, but in this fight, he has to learn how to kind of use his powers. Like, he was just born, and he's so goofy the way he fights fights, just flying and bouncing around everywhere. At one point, he even learns that he can use ki blasts, and he blasts his own face and like toasts it. He even dunks his head into his body, just like Majin Buu. So yeah, if Buu is one of your favorite characters, you're probably pretty happy right now. And while he didn't defeat the Tamagami yet, he was putting in some serious work, definitely way more than Majin Ku. And as we saw from the next episode preview, the Tamagami looks all bruised up, but he's not defeated yet. But I have a feeling Do is actually going to win here. Yet another common occurrence in Dragon Ball Daima, Goku took time to get acclimated, Majin Ku did, and Majin Do. But as this fight progressed, he kind of gets more and more powerful. He gets more used to his goofy, putty body. And you can tell that Tamagami 1 just simply can't handle the drunken master style of this goofy Buu, as his little brother cheers him on. I like this comical little duo. They're not like the craziest characters ever, but they're kind of fun. And you get Cybermen and Majin Buu back, basically, just in a new suit. So now we're going to go over to Neva, the Namekian, who has come to meet Goku and company and ask them about their Dragon Ball. And this is going to infuriate King Goma because he thought Neva was helping him, but Neva turns out is a good guy. He's excited to meet a warrior Namek. He hasn't seen one in a very, very long time, which would be Piccolo, obviously. And Piccolo says his father's name is Katats. Now, Katats is not King Piccolo. Full story of the Namekians, where they came from and what their powers are and why. Turns out that Neva is not a bad guy. They're a little bit worried about Dende, but Neva knows that they won't harm Dende because he's too important. The Namekians are too important because of their power to create and use the Dragon Balls. So he kind of has a plan to, you know, save and rescue Dende. He's not too worried about him. Ponzi's saying, well, if you're so powerful, like you could even become the Supreme Demon King yourself, or even take him down. And he says Nameks must not use their power for conflict. So maybe he won't fight, but he could potentially take over as the ruler of the demon worlds after Goku and company beat the final bosses. So they're talking about using the Dragon Balls and they'll need to speak Namekian. And Piccolo says, I cannot speak Namekian anymore because I've lived on Earth too long. I find that a little bit wonky. In any case, they're going to have to take Neva with them so that they can get a wish. So Neva is going to join them in their crew. And he also talks about keeping planet Namek safe for when everyone returns, which is interesting because he believes that all the Namekians in Universe 7, I guess, will eventually come home at some point. And he drops a bomb on us saying that the Dragon Balls were only meant to be a reward for Namekians doing essentially good deeds, but when people learned about the wish, they started coming after them for foolish purposes and bad wishes. So he created the Tamagami to make them so strong to protect the Dragon Balls so that weak and evil people couldn't use the wishes. So that's it for the episode. Got a lot more information bombs. This story just continually expands the Dragon Ball universe like crazy, giving us a lot of new information, a lot of new characters, and a lot of new combat. But I actually really enjoyed this episode, and I like that the series is kind of picking up a little bit more. It's always nice to see Vegeta fight, and we're gonna get more next episode, so I'm pumped for that. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below, and I'll see you for the next Dragon Ball Daima episode.